How you doing, guys? Right now I'm gonna make a video to help beginners or people just struggling to get an even weld. I'm doing stick welding with a 6010 or 6011. I often get asked, how do you get your weld so even? Just stick welding, you can make it look really clean if you have the right settings and the right rod angle. And if you understand the parts of a weld and how to get the results that you want. Now, what we have here, one of the biggest tips that I learned that helped me get an even weld was to focus on the toe of the weld. The toe of the weld is this part right here. The parts of the edge of the weld right here is your toe. If you could focus on one side, I often found it difficult to lay my eyes on both ends, simply because I'm focused on getting the right, right size bead or whatnot. If you focus on one side being even, the opposite side will be just the same. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna form a puddle, whip over, come back. Make sure you cover half of the previous weld. What you don't want to create a puddle. Move over and then come back. This right here is a weak spot in your weld. So that's why you want to go back and cover 50% at least of your previous weld. Puddle, move, back, 50%, puddle, move, back. Now, when I was getting about the toe, if I'm doing a weld here, I'm going to follow this top edge, because the bottom one will probably be obscured by the arc or the position of my hand. So I create a puddle here, I move over, and I form another puddle that's in line with this previous one, and that right there will help you a lot get an even weld. Now we're gonna weld over here. We're gonna weld a T-joint and a lap joint with 6011, roughly about 80 amps. Let's get you over here. All right. So I'm going to start my arc. I'm going to whip it over and cover the previous weld 50%. Make sure your rod angle is 45 here so you're covering both sides equally. Puddle, move over, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Right now I'm watching the top toe. I'm not moving until it's full. that up a little bit so you can see. Now, I'll make sure I have a wire wheel next time, but as you can see here, I was following the top toe, and as far as I was lining up the top toe, the bottom one would be just the same. Now let's try this with the bottom lap joint. Right now I'm going to be careful that whatever puddle size I form does not go over here, it does not overlap. So I'm going to focus on the top side and making sure the toes are even. Puddle, forward, puddle, forward, puddle, forward, puddle, forward. Now, as you can see, it's fairly evenly spaced, no big gaps. I was following the top toe on this first T-joint, and on this bottom lap joint, as long as I didn't go over the piece, then it all lined itself. Hope you found that tip helpful. Make sure that you form the right puddle size. Go forward, whip it as they say, and cover at least half of your previous weld. And do not move forward until your puddle size is the same size as the previous weld that you deposited, the metal that you deposited. So these were the toes that I was talking about. Focus on that, and that's what helped me a lot. Let's turn this machine off real quick so you can hear me better. So I focused on the toe up here, make sure that it was even every time I deposited metal, and the bottom one would be the same. And for this lap joint, same thing. I just didn't want to overlap on this piece right here. I'll make sure to next time have a wire wheel. And yeah, hopefully you find it helpful. Let me know if there's any other type of joint or a certain rod that you'd want to use. I'd be more than happy to make a video for you guys. Thanks.